to this week's video, Setting Our 2015 Intentions. Now, why does it matter that we set intentions? Well, if our thoughts and beliefs create our reality, then we have a lot of power in the direction our lives will take in the next year. And since we have that power, we might as well use it consciously, because it's working whether you're conscious of it or not, and apply it to creating lives that we love and that are fulfilling and wonderful. And every year I do this process of setting intentions, and this year was no different than any other. I sat down and I started writing out a list, and it was a list of tons of stuff. It was stuff I wanted, it was things I wanted to experience, things I would like to see happen. And when I got finished with that process, I thought, this is an opportunity to really take a look at being in a new state of consciousness. Because what I saw from that list was that I was just coming from the ego state. It was a bunch of wants and desires and things that I felt I needed to have in my life. And this egoic way of living is a huge part of our conditioning. And the problem with it is that it has created the world that we are now living in and that we are not happy with. Because when we indulge in ego wants, we're adding to consumerism, and every time we buy things or we have to have stuff, it has an effect on the earth, and it has an effect on the whole, and it's not been a very positive effect. It might affect you positively, but the happiness never lasts. And so I had to really take a look at my intention list and ask myself some really deep, serious questions and look at the pattern, the conditioning that I was just following automatically without questioning. And this kind of conditioning, like I said, has some really negative repercussions on our lives. The conditioning that we can get stuck in when we start setting intentions from the ego is we can get really stuck. As I said, number one, we have an effect on the earth if we're consuming a lot and needing to have stuff. Number two, we are following this huge mental pattern in the collective of I'll be happy in the future. I have to have, I need, I want, I must have more. And this creates a lot of greed and problems in our world, and I don't want to be contributing to that. I don't want to live and miss out on my life because I'm living for a future time, or I feel I have to fill up with things in order to be happy. So it's addressing a lot of really unhealthy conditioning that we have by working on our intentions in a different way. Now, when we're willing to look at our own conditioning and to change it, it's going to have an effect on the world and on ourselves. We're not going to live in a state of striving and struggling and creating a lot of suffering for ourselves when things don't happen as the ego thinks they should, and missing out on our life now. It's just such a habit. And so for me this year, it was the perfect opportunity to approach things from a different perspective, a deeper perspective in my consciousness. Because as I said in the beginning, it's fine. We want to direct the course of our lives, but we just need to be looking at who is the I that is directing it? Is the I coming from the small self and the ego? Or is the I us being in touch with our formless self and our soul? And really listening to that and choosing things that will be truly fulfilling, that are very aligned to our values and that contribute to the whole. And so that's what I had to do. I rattled off my list, and then I created a 5-step process, and it's in the workbook for you, that you can follow, that I hope will help loosen some of that conditioning in you, and that will help you to listen and get in touch with your soul and really find intentions that have true value and satisfaction for you this year, so that you're not spending your time just following an old conditioned pattern of I have to have more and more and more. And that was one of the things I noticed on my list. It was like, as soon as I had one thing, I wanted to increase my income. But then what would I do with that income? Well, I wanted to do this, and I wanted to have that, and I wanted this to happen, and this whole list, and it never stopped. It just kept generating more and more and more. And I want to change that habit and that mental pattern within myself, because if I'm not doing so, I'm not living consciously, and I'm not going to be able to have a light impact on the world as far as an economic footprint, and I'm not going to be aligned to what really matters, because as soon as you get the stuff, then you just want more. It's an endless, meaningless conquest, so to speak, but we're all conditioned to think and behave that way because it serves keeping us in this old state of consciousness, and a lot of people don't want that consciousness to change. We are different here at the Soul Support Center, and I think the people that are into the Soul Support Center want to be the change, and they really want to work on themselves. So I created this workbook. You can go to the printables tab and click and print out the workbook, and I really hope that it helps you as much as it helped me, because once I got clear on what it was my soul wants to manifest, I feel very whole and complete. It's not the intentions that I have set, I feel really are an expression of my soul. I'm not needing stuff, I'm just simply wanting to create and play with form in the world and bring goodness to it. And anytime we do that, we're also contributing to the whole. And that I've taken the time to work on my consciousness, to question my conditioning, and to start to dismantle a lot of these hypnotic, automatic responses of just following the ego's wants and needs. And I'm digging deeper. I'm serving the higher I in me. And that's how I personally want to live my life. So I hope you enjoy it, and we will see you next time.